What's going on, Sens fans? Welcome back to another post-game coverage with Jack and myself. We missed you last time, Jack, but Jordan was here to fill in for you and did a great job. But what a great game it was tonight. Like you said right before we started this team is getting so fun to watch, and the youth movement is in full effect, and it's so fun. What do you think?
It's just so fun to watch, and I know like people are gonna get amped up because we're not that far back, I guess, now in hindsight for a playoff spot. But hey, that doesn't even matter at this point. It's fun to watch them play, and it's just the young guys who are coming in. And I mean, we'll get into Pinto and everything, but I just that top line, it's Tkachuk, Norris, and Batherson.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the year, it was more of a, they started the year together, and then they were the only offense, so you couldn't really keep them together, right? But now that they're back together and everyone else has kind of started to figure it out, they look so good, and they just look like a real top line. To me, and you can't say enough about Josh Norris. Like, we'll get into him, I guess, at the end, but man, just lots of fun to watch right now.
Yeah, and like right from the beginning, this team was so entertaining to watch, and I couldn't be happier about it. Like, this team hasn't been fun to watch in quite a while, I think. They've been doing better pretty much this whole season. And, yeah, like, game by game, they're getting better and better. But overall, like, this team is just – I can't believe it. And I didn't think I'd be saying this by the end of this season.
Not either.
But this team is almost ready. So
I think the best part is that the main core of guys is going to be back next year. Last year we had a few people come back, and it was like, Paul, Brown, Tierney, and then Tkachuk and White up front, I think, and then everyone else is pretty much new. So the fact that there's like the main bulk of guys are back is good. The only thing that I'm reserved about is that Dorion needs to be able to see that he doesn't need to do a ton to this roster. Like, it would be a little preemptive, I think, to just go out and try and change something right away. I would honestly let this roster play next year, fill in the holes where you need to, but up front, not many holes. I think Dzingel is the only UFA. That's literally it. Everyone else is back, so that's encouraging. You could literally like let Dzingel go wherever and just plug Watson right back in there, and it would be a different vibe, I guess, because he's a different kind of player, but I don't think it would impact it too much. It's just it's an exciting time to be a fan, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do want to quickly mention this while it's here. Ottawa scores on the power play when Branson comes on for Shabbat. I do want to say, before I forget, I don't think that is just a coincidence. I think Branstrom came on the ice, and if Shabbat had the puck at the point where Branstrom did, that would have been a shot. And instead it was a pass to the wide open Josh Norris, and I think that's why I've been saying all season that Branstrom deserves the shot on the top unit. And that just proved my point. I mean, sure, Shabbat could have made the pass. It wasn't a fantastic play or anything. It was the right play, but I don't know. Just worth noting before we get into everything.
Branstrom looks fine out there. I didn't think this was one of his better games. He took a couple penalties, but the Shabbat actually had a pretty good game. He's a +2. He was he looked pretty good out there. He was flying around early on, and then he kind of got hurt, which was unfortunate, but he looked like he was okay. So I guess we'll keep an eye on that. But I'm pretty impressed with the special teams in general. I think that's the story tonight.
Yeah, especially the penalty kill. Like, we spent pretty much almost 6 minutes straight shorthanded from the end of the second to the end of the third. And what else other than to kill them all off and then get one right away and score on it? Like, it was a whole night for our penalty or for our special teams, and they worked.
The PKs look so good. I tweeted this out. It's looked so good since that first game in Edmonton, where they let in 4 and they lost. I think it was like 8-5 or something. It's looked so good since then, really. And I don't know where they are in terms of the league standings on the penalty kill, but I think that they've made a lot of changes. The 4 forwards that they have rolling out right now, Brown, Paul, Tierney, and Formanton, are so good. And Tierney is going. You can tell that Tierney is being shifted out for Pinto, because Pinto had quite a few great shifts out there. I'm just it's easy, you know, in a rebuild to have a bunch of young pieces, and you kind of the idea is to get as many as you can, so you hit on as many as you can.
Yeah.
But like so far so good. The only
Yeah.
bust in this rebuild has been Logan Brown, and not that he's a bust even yet, but it's like he's the only one who hasn't really panned out like people were expecting.
And he was before the rebuild.
That's a good point too. Yeah, yeah. And I mean, even Brown or Batherson and Formanton were drafted before the rebuild. So it's crazy. Like I just, it's almost unprecedented to have this many pieces, you know. And I was just kind of thinking to myself, like, other than Sanderson, and then likely who they get in this draft, although I don't want to jump on it too much, but we might not be looking at a top 5 pick if they keep trending like this, right? Like they're starting to climb up a little bit. But you know, other than Sanderson, I don't know if there's a huge piece that's coming in to this team. Like even on Belleville, I don't think there's any major piece down there that you could really see being on the team in the future. So it's cool because this is the nucleus of what the team is supposed to be. If you would assume, right? That's why I don't think Dorion should touch anything in the offseason. But yeah, this was a really fun game to watch. Just a classic grind it out kind of game.
Yeah,
you know, they survive late. It's just great.
Yeah, and I actually tweeted this out earlier. I don't know if you saw it, but we're gonna have a lot of Mika Zibanejad for Derek Brassard kind of trades. We're not gonna win them at all.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a young guy like Abramov, for example, who is a good prospect for us, but isn't standing out. He's doing great in Belleville this year, absolutely. But we're going to end up trading a guy like him for a guy like Derek Brassard, who's going to come in for a year or two, fill a need for like just a stopgap. And then Abramov's going to turn into a good player, sure. But we don't have room for him. And what I tweeted out is that we have to prepare for that. We're going to lose some trades because we just have too much. Like, I look at Belleville, Crookshank, Sokolov, Parker Kelly, even Logan Brown is still in the conversation to make the team. Abramov, and like there's just so many. And like bottom 6, bottom 9 kind of guys. None of them are going to be superstars, but they might be. Mika Zibanejad wasn't going to be a superstar. Yeah,
and I mean, I'd argue that he's kind of turned into one, but I've always been on the train that that's not a terrible trade. And I mean, look at what they flipped Brassard for. They got Gustafson and JBD out of it. So you know, the grass is always greener. But I agree. Yeah, moving forward, they're going to have to prepare to lose trades in the long run. But the thing is, like, I'm thinking about what this team would need to address, right? And let's assume that JBD, and to be fair, JBD we should assume that he should step in right away because we've seen him play a game. He looked pretty steady, and once he gets a shot, you know, he'll be all right. I'm not sure what hole they need to fill.
The only ones I can think of is down the right side of forwards and defense. That's the only place we might need somebody, and it's I wouldn't even call it a hole to fill. Kind of the same way drafting Sanderson was a hole to fill. He was the best player available, but he also we kind of needed a left defenseman. But yeah, like this team doesn't have many holes. I guess you could say, unless you think Dadonov is going to come in and bounce back and be a second line right winger behind Batherson. But ideally, you move on from Dadonov, obviously when the contract is up, maybe. But you find a good second line right winger, even a 1A, 1B. And just like that comment from Jammy 1C, I think we're going to have a 1A, 1B, Norris Pinto. That's just going to be fantastic.
So perfect. This leads me into the third period because how fun was that to watch? So multiple penalty kills in a row. So obviously the main forwards get tired, right?
Yeah.
And then you throw out Pinto, and he has one of the best penalty killing shifts that I've seen, like other than Formanton, I guess, but not even forecheck. And just he I forget who it was, but he storms back and crushed someone in the boards.
Dylan Dubé.
He crushed Dylan Dubé in the boards, like just right down the ice. He blocked a shot, I think, earlier in that shift too.
Yep.
When they send it down, Ottawa gets a power play. Boom, Josh Norris back of the net. Those are two centermen under the age of 21 or 21 or younger that are just making headways on this team right now, and I'm stoked. And it's not even the thing with Josh Norris is like he was a little quieter earlier in the year. He struggled a little bit. He like moved up and down the lineup. They put him back with Tkachuk. Since then, pretty much he's been dynamite defensively, I thought.
Yeah.
And then I think since April, I was looking today. Since April, he's been just, almost point per game. I think over point per game now because he's got 4 points in his last 2. So he has been the outstanding rookie on this team this year. I mean, other than Zub, who's also a rookie. He's been so good, and that's why this season hasn't felt like a lost one. I think because you found an answer down the middle potentially. Yeah,
absolutely, and Josh Norris is at a point a game in the month of April, 9-9.
That was before tonight though. That was before tonight. I definitely.
Oh, before tonight. Okay.
I think so. I checked that today. So he's got 11-10 now.
Wow. Yeah.
So,
he's going to be fantastic, and he's not necessarily the best.
He's not flashy. That's the best part. He's not flashy.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to be.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like he's going to be, and my best comparison, I was actually just talking about this before I got on here. I think we're going to have a 1-2 punch of Mark Scheifele and Ryan O'Reilly in 4 years. And I think Josh Norris is going to be a Mark Scheifele kind of player. He has a brilliant shot, but can make the passes, can play the defense, can do all this. And then you have Pinto, who's going to be Ryan O'Reilly. And it's almost written in the stars that that's going to be the comparison. And I look at a team like St. Louis, who just won the cup not long ago.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have a superstar on their team. You could say Tarasenko, but he's on the borderline, I think, just because of health injuries and all that. But just a very deep team. They didn't have the big number one guys. We have Shabbat. They had Pietrangelo. Not necessarily. Pietrangelo's come out as a superstar in the last couple of years. But I wouldn't say at the time he was like a top 2, top 3, top 4 defense.
He's just a solid top 10 defenseman almost, right?
Yeah, exactly. And they just have so many solid guys. So it's just that's what we're gonna have, I think.
It is a good comparison. I'm just I tweeted out, I've Jacob, I've been a Josh Norris pumping his tires
enthusiast.
All season. An enthusiast, that's a really good way to put it. I've been pumping his tires all season. And lately now we're all picking up on the train, which is good, but there's been a lot of talk, I guess, or I've seen about Jesperi Kotkaniemi in Montreal, and the Tkachuk debate about it's not about what Tkachuk is now versus what Kotkaniemi could be, which I completely understand and is completely fair. If you're a dynamic two-way centerman, that's completely fair. But as Sens fans, we don't need to feel like we're being cheated because I tweeted out, Josh Norris is everything that Habs fans have been saying Kotkaniemi will be in 3 years. That's exactly what Norris is right now. He's playing against all the top guys, and he's thriving. So that's a comforting feeling, I guess, when you know that you already have a piece that's you have no reason to suspect he won't keep getting better, right?
Yeah.
And I should say too, there was a little bit of this excitement, not excitement, but optimism about Colin White when he played with Stone and Tkachuk that one season.
Yeah.
So, there's reason to, I guess, be just a little hesitant. But Josh Norris isn't playing with Mark Stone. He's playing with Tkachuk and Batherson, 2 young guys as well. So, I don't think that's a good comparison, I guess, with White, but it is where White was a couple of years ago. So you just got to hope that Norris can stay healthy and then, keep bringing it every night like he is, because this has been a great season for him to build off of.
Yeah, it's exactly like you said. We can kind of lean into the game a little bit since this is post-game. We haven't done that much lately. It started off by a beautiful goal by Brady Tkachuk, and I know I see Jammy watching this, and I just want to say that's the shot you're talking about that he has to score. And you're right, he doesn't score that shot very often, and he took the patience and he took that shot. He has been scoring a lot of it lately, but sorry, I don't want to interrupt there, but I've been saying too that he's got a sneaky shot. He's hit the post on breakaways like
5 times, I think, and then he scored one last week. And then this one was it wasn't even just the shot, it was the patience. How nice was that? Like just the little hesitation. Oh, that was beautiful. It's a high skill goal. If he can start putting some of those in, 30 goals is not whatsoever out of the question. I think him and Connor Brown are on pace for like 27. I don't know what Brown is on pace for in a full season now, but he's leading the team in goals.
Well, him and Brady are tied, I believe. Oh,
no,
he has
the empty netter pushed him ahead, yeah. Man, if Brown started to cash in on a few of his breakaways at the beginning of the year, it would be looking at up there in top part of the league, I think. But that was a great goal by Brady. And I also, I was saying on Twitter as well that I've watched Matthew Tkachuk a good amount this season now, and we talk about not messing up the roster for anyone else.
Yeah,
I said this when we had Nick Robinson on, as a guest. Because it was after one of the games against Calgary, and I kind of said that I'm not sold on if Tkachuk would be not a good fit, but I don't know if I want to. They'd have to give up a lot to get him.
Yeah.
He'd be expensive in terms of money. I don't know if I'd want that just based on, they've got a lot of options, and this recent stretch has shown that. I just think he does a lot of, not that I don't have anything wrong with this style of play. I think it's good, and the Flames obviously love it. But it's the way that he's a dirty player. Like there were 3 or 4, I think at the beginning of the third, they sent like a montage of the 2 brothers tonight. And all of Matthews were like punches to the back of the head, like just stuff like that. That's like, you don't need that, I don't think, on a team. Whereas Brady, I can't think in the 3 years he's been here of anything dirty he's done other than the Scott Lawton thing. That's one instance where he just kind of, the wires crossed and he went a little nuts. So I'd be okay if Dorion didn't, sell the farm to get another left winger, no matter how good he would be, because he was really good tonight. But I just don't think that they need that extra grit or something like that. I think a team like the Leafs could use that, or the Oilers or something like that. But the Sens have it in spades.
You just put an idea in my mind. A 1-for-1 Matthew Tkachuk, William Nylander.
Oh, I think the Flames say no to that 100%.
I think so too. But could you imagine the Battle of Ontario, Tkachuk versus Tkachuk? Oh, that would be so fun. But I completely agree. Actually, I'm not a fan of Matthew Tkachuk really, which blows my mind because I love Brady Tkachuk. He's one of my favorite players that I've seen play in a long time. But his brother's just different, and I think Matthew is more likely to get 70 points in a season than Brady. But in every other way, I think Brady is the better player. And
I mean, I think that in Matthew's 3rd season, that was Calgary's best year. That was when they were first in the West, if I'm not wrong. I think that was 2019. That was his 3rd year. Yeah. So, this is Brady's 3rd season, and they're still in the basement. So I don't think I think point totals aren't a good comparison. You can look now, because Tkachuk, or I keep saying Tkachuk, Brady has more points than Matthew, and the team's a bit worse. So,
does Brady have more points than Matthew?
Yeah, or maybe not more points. He's got more goals for sure. I think he's 1 less point, maybe a bit more if Matthew didn't get one tonight. But yeah, the stats are right there, and I'd say that right now Ottawa's a better team than Calgary. So I don't know. Well, it's one of those things where only time will tell. But I'm thinking of the price for Anthony Mantha, and that would be the starting point. I feel like for Matthew Tkachuk.
I think so.
I don't think it's worth it for the Sens at this point. A team that if we're just thinking Canadian division, I think the Habs should go for him too. Like literally anyone, if Calgary's willing to sell. I think the Oilers would be a good one, even though they could have drafted him. But I'm a bit carried away there. But
I also want to say that Matthew Tkachuk has 28 points. Matthew has 30. Brady has 28.
Right. I looked again today. I was all over it. Brady's got 29 now because he got that one tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This has the game, but doesn't have. Yeah. Okay, I don't know.
No, because Batherson, Chabot, and Tkachuk were all tied at 28 today. I was looking at them. So yeah, like 1 point off, and I think a few games played in hand for one of them, but um, he's right there, and he's younger, and he's bigger, and he's a smarter player. So yeah, it's something to think about. I know that the thought of two Kachucks on the ice for like 40 plus minutes a night is salivating, but I don't know if I'd swing that far if I'm Dorion.
Yeah, I wouldn't go against it either. But then Connor Brown tucks one home too. He
Shorthanded.
Shorthanded right at the end of the second period, and it felt like it didn't happen, and I don't know why. But
I know what you mean.
Like, I watched it happen, then I watched the face-off, and I saw the game keep going.
Yeah.
And it never clued in that it was a goal. Like, I don't know. Jacob Markstrom was laying down, and Connor Brown just slid it under his pad, and it was just so nonchalant that nobody celebrated. He just kind of stood up, got the pat on the back, and they just skated to center ice. It was so weird.
It was a strange, okay, you did the work, now go do it again kind of goal.
Yeah.
That was funny to watch. The PK is just fun to watch now. Like, I'm not nervous when they're out there.
Yeah.
And I think, we've gone this far. We got to talk about Matt Murray. Tonight more than Saturday by far. I think he stole the show. That save on Matthew Tkachuk especially was just so nice.
Yeah.
I can't really say enough about what he's brought the last. Even though, I mean, the first game back they lost, but he was pretty solid. So, boy, we said it all. We've been saying it all year for sure. When this team gets good goaltending, they're fun to watch, and it's even better now. So you just gotta hope that I don't think they're gonna make the playoffs. Unfortunately, I think they have to go like 10-0 from here on out. So that'd be 12-0 in the last 12 games. They'd have to do that to have a chance. But if Murray can find any kind of confidence and actually be a solid starter for this team next season, that'll go miles. That'll be massive. So, I'm really happy with his progression.
Yeah, and so Matt Murray, in the 3 games that he's been back now, has like a .940 save percentage. If he keeps this up, this might make the expansion draft really interesting for us.
Oh, God. See, here's the thing. I think if
it makes it so tough because he's proven, he's signed. If he finishes this season, if he plays 8 of the last 10 games and he's got a .920 and above,
you have to protect him.
You gotta, and it's so hard. Like,
you have to. And I think you'd like to think that the Seattle wouldn't gamble on one of the Sens' younger goalies. I don't know, because it's really hard, and I feel like I have a hunch that they're going to lose a goalie.
Yeah.
Mainly, I think too, because Chris Tierney hasn't been great. At least visually. I don't know what the underlying numbers are saying, but he was okay tonight actually. But never mind, not in the face-off circle.
No, he wasn't.
Jesus. But I think a goalie is a likely candidate to be chosen. And hey, look, it's because you have so many and it's a good thing. I think if Seattle doesn't know which one to take, or if we don't know which one they're going to take, if it's between Decord, Gustafsson, I don't know who else is eligible, even Hogberg, for Christ's sake, I don't know, but I think that's going to be a tough pill to swallow. But I do think that if you're right, I think if Murray continues this, I think even if he doesn't, like if for some reason he just gets injured or something like that, I think you still protect him because you've hired a new goalie coach. He's been working with him. He looks comfortable so far. There's no reason to think that he can't keep this up because, right away at the beginning of the year, he wasn't consistent. So that's my take, I guess, on Murray.
Yeah, and I'm going to quickly go over this as well. I think what we're furthest away from being a contender is goaltending. We haven't had that all season. And we've still been competitive most of the season. Mm-hmm. If we had solid goaltending all year, then we'd be in a playoff spot right now, I think, or at least 3 or 4 points out.
Yeah, there were definitely a couple games where it got away from them. I do think the defensive game has come a long, long way.
Yes,
Mete and Brandstrom have taken a lot of steps. Even Shabbat has figured it out. whatever he was missing. I just got a tweet here. They're doing their post game availability, and Norris said, I guess he was asked about Pinto, and he said, Pinto is a player. I really like him a lot. He does everything right. He can shoot the puck. He's really good on draws. I could go on and on.
They must love him already. Like
that's man, you can't help but smile at that. That's just shows that the camaraderie is big.
So next game I'd like to see Tkachuk, Norris, Batherson, and then Stützle, Pinto, Connor Brown, I think. I
don't even know if I want to touch that.
No, me either. But I'd like to add more talent to it. But they're just so good together already. I don't know.
I do want to see Stützle with Pinto at some point this year.
Yeah,
Stützle's been the one, not disappointment, but he's made nice plays. He made a couple nice plays tonight. He's just being left off the chemistry train. I'll put it that way.
Yeah,
he just had that, which is why it'd be good for him to get with Pinto or someone. But he got a point on the power play today. The power play looked pretty good with Brandstrom up there. I do think next season at some point they're gonna move to look to get Brandstrom on that top unit. Just
I would hope so. His offensive instincts are better than Chabot's. Maybe not yet, but they're definitely going to be.
They're more crisp and they're more efficient, I think. Yeah. And it's also a really good way to rest Chabot. If you insist on playing him that long and that many minutes 5-on-5, get him off the power play pretty much, right? If you've got an option. And they do in Brandstrom, he was on there for 20 seconds and they scored. Yeah. I should say we kind of touched on it at the beginning. That wasn't a play made by Brandstrom or anything. That was I think we've seen
it was a decision.
It was a decision. I think we've seen Chabot move it over there all the time. That was just a rocket of a shot by Norris. Just oof.
No offense to Bobby Ryan, but this is my favorite Sens jersey of all time. It's already got the 9 on it.
Might have to scrap it.
Oh, I might have to get the name changed. But he's never worn this jersey, so I don't want to look like an idiot. But I love Norris, man. Yeah,
he's so easy to root for.
Yeah,
I think what a trade. I can't Erik Karlsson was for me because I grew up right. I was I don't know 7 years old when he was drafted. I kind of grew up with him and it sucked. I remember so vividly when they traded for him.
Yeah,
he, or not traded for him when they traded Karlsson. You read the package that they got, and there's all these assets. And Josh Norris was the only name, I guess, that you kind of recognize, or not recognize even, but he was the big one. He was the prospect. Yeah. And I remember going, "Who the hell is this guy?" Right?
Me too.
Usually, in a trade for a guy like Erik Karlsson, you know the name coming back at least, right?
Yeah.
But holy, I think. He's getting up there. Maybe not that we doubted him, but just what he's proven is on par with what Brady Tkachuk kind of did. And it's just kind of fitting that they're best friends.
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
Yeah. And this whole team is fun stuff. And I do just want to say to this comment, I don't think I would seriously think about changing a nameplate, but it's so tempting. But anyway. And then, so Josh Norris puts that beautiful shot top corner. I saw somebody tweet out, it might have been you, but it was don't forget that goalie has a family that they care about. Yeah, that was hilarious. That really got me. And, but Josh Norris, and he scored that goal 25 times last year in the AHL, 10 times already this year from that spot. It's fantastic. And can't really ask for much more from Josh Norris.
Hey, and it's not even that I'm, I've been pumping his tires just in general all this season, but lately too, I was get him on that first power play. Look at it now. It's so different. He's got 3 goals from that same spot on that top unit.
Yeah.
It's
how many games has it been since he was moved? 5?
A week maybe. I think it was last week, against Winnipeg, that Monday night game. I think that might have been it.
I think it was. So no more than 4 games ago, and he's got 3 power play goals from the same spot.
It's almost like they're using Stützle as a decoy, because he's not a threat to be a quick shot from over there, but the way that Tkachuk becomes an asset down there, literally tonight, if you go watch the video again, I'm going to watch that goal a lot. I haven't really looked at it again, but he gets the puck. He stops it. He's got a lot of time, a lot of space. Kachuk is like a moving screen. He moves in front of the goalie's eyes and then gets past him. As soon as he gets past him, Norris starts releasing.
Yeah.
And it's not even that he had to shoot it. If the lane's not there, he goes down to Kachuk for the bumper play to Batherson, which we saw on Saturday. It creates a lot more options that way, and it's fun. It's fun to watch. It's hard to not get excited about this team, and I'm gonna miss watching them. I'm not gonna lie. It's been a fun losing season.
It really has been, and to think that if we play like this and even lose, we're still going to be happy and have a better chance of getting a guy like Brant Clark, Owen Power, whoever you want to draft. Like, fantastic.
And not to get too ahead of myself here, but that feels like a piece that they might be able to use depending who the pick is.
Yeah.
And I have a really strong feeling that if it's a left-handed defenseman, that it will be traded. Excuse me, or someone will on, whether it's Brandstrom, Sanderson. I hope it's not Sanderson. It'd be kind of a waste, but
I think in this draft it feels like it's just written in the stars that we're going to take a defenseman. Yeah. And Brant Clark is the only one in the top 10 that's right-handed. So I think Brant Clark would be the best option for us defensively. Although, like, how can you say no to a guy like Owen Power, 6'5", going to be a monster? And
I think Power's going to be gone outside of the top 3. I think.
Oh, 100%. And
I think we're probably going to be in the top 3.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, depending on where we pick, if we pick up Owen Power, which if he's available, I don't see us not taking him no matter where we go. If we get Owen Power, Brandstrom is gone, I think.
Yeah.
I think Brandstrom is the most expendable. There's a few guys in the top 10 that I'd say maybe. I'll keep Brandstrom and trade him, or just trade the pick at the deadline or at the draft. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be really interesting because we don't need anything, like you said. We just need time.
I would be a little reluctant to pass up on Luke Hughes.
Yeah,
he's hasn't been a name that's been thrown around a ton, but I think he'll be in the 4 to 7 range, it seems like.
Yeah.
How can you pass on a Hughes brother?
I know,
right? You got the Kachuk brother. Not that they passed on Quinn Hughes, but I mean that's like a top defenseman right now. So
yeah,
and Luke is bigger and seems to be a better defender. I believe is the report on him. So I don't know, but I do think if they take a left shot defenseman, then trades will be the options, especially if Sanderson comes in right away and is blowing away the competition.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. I think anybody playing college is going to want to go back for another year next year. So like Owen Power, Kent Johnson, all them, they're all probably going back for another year. But Sanderson isn't coming back until the end of next year. If we get a guy that's coming out of junior and wants to play in the NHL, comes and he's good enough and whatever, then I think we probably don't make a trade. We probably just stick with a really young blue line until somewhere's around the deadline when Jake Sanderson can come up. And one thing I mentioned on the New Era Sens podcast that's coming out tomorrow, something I could see happening, at least for kind of a stopgap for a couple of years, is a Brandstrom and Dumba package. I don't know who would be adding what extra, but like a Brandstrom for Dumba package would make a lot of sense for this team.
Yeah. I don't think it would yet. I think it would eventually. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I do think, though, that Sanderson is poised to come in and just solidify the defensive core. I think that's the expectation, and I think he's going to do it. based on the way that Pinto's looked, I don't have any problem with spending 2 years at North Dakota. It seems like they're feeding them something. But I don't know if anyone listened to Sanderson's interview on the Locked On Senators podcast. Yep. We've had both of Brandon and Ross on here as guests, but he was on there and they asked him, about the decision to go back, obviously, for this season, and he said he really kind of emphasized the precedents that other players have put out. Cale Makar and Quinn Hughes, he named them specifically, and I'm thinking of Cale Makar specifically. He came on to an Avs team that had just made the playoffs for the first time. Or maybe not the first time. They made it, I think, in 2018, got bounced in the first round or something. Makar comes and joins the spring of 2019, and then the Avs bounced that Calgary team that we were just talking about that was first in the West, and Makar just came in and shocked everyone with how good he was. So that should be, I think, the timeline and mindset for Sanderson.
Yeah.
Depends on when his season ends and stuff, but I do believe that he'll come in right away. No Belleville, nothing, and he should be a top guy right away on the back end.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't argue with that. My only thought is that leaves Chabot, Sanderson, and Brandstrom on the left. DJ isn't fond of playing Brandstrom on the right. And Dumba being the right defenseman, I think a Brandstrom for Dumba, kind of have a JBD and Dumba top four. I think that would make most sense. Obviously, Pierre Dorion isn't going to do that. That's not something that I could see him doing. But you never know. Stuff like that. I don't know.
The thing is, we're thinking about our right side, and Zaitsev is the guy who's going to be on the way out for JBD. That seems to be the thought process.
Yep.
But I won't write off Artem Zub just yet.
No,
he looked quite good tonight, and people forget how young he is. He's 25, I think.
Yep.
He's no chance that you should write him off because he's not, under 22. So he looked so good, and we'll just see what happens. The only thing for Dorion this offseason is signing everyone to reasonable deals.
Yeah.
If he's getting everyone on a bridge deal, I don't think that's very ideal.
Yeah.
I think Kachuk would be the one that I'm okay with being on a bridge, but the others, like Batherson, overpay a little bit for next season and just hope he grows out of it, kind of thing. A little bit like Nylander almost, right? I think those are a decent comparable.
Yep.
So that'll be the brunt of his work this offseason is signing everyone to deals.
Yeah, absolutely, and just kind of he knows what he's got now. There's no surprises on this team, so this is obviously 100% Pierre Dorion's team. He built this team, so he knows what to do, and I trust all of that.
We trust in the system.
Yeah, absolutely. So we can get into our 3 stars for the night if you want to start us off.
Sure. Okay, third I'll go Matt Murray. I'll go Matt Murray for the 3rd star. He was fantastic. Made that one really nice save, but then everything else he just stopped when he needed to. And what a crazy concept, right?
Yep.
After that, I'll go with Brady Tkachuk. We didn't even talk about that shift against Lucic. Oh my god.
He just dummied Lucic like
3 times.
Yeah.
In one shift. The energy that takes to make one hit on a shift cannot be overstated. Like, what a tank that is. And then that beautiful goal, right? 3 shot. He's only credited with 2 hits on ESPN.
Yeah.
I feel like that's horse.
He had 3 hits against Lucic that shift.
So maybe a little off on that, but 3 shots he's credited with and a beautiful goal. And that top line just looked great. And then 1st star, I'm going with my boy. I'm going Josh Norris. The makings of a number 1 centerman, no doubt.
Yeah, 100%. For my 3 stars, I'll give Connor Brown my 1st star. He played a fantastic game in every zone. Obviously, he got the pair of goals. One's an empty netter, but he's Connor Brown. That's 10 goals in his last 11 games. He's on fire. There's no reason not to have Connor Brown just doing everything now because he has been doing it all. So he's my 1st star. I'll give Matt Murray my 2nd star because, again, just coming back from this injury and whatever he was off for, he's been playing fantastic. Like I said, a 940 save percentage or around there after tonight. So huge props to him. Kept us in this game at quite a few times. He made brilliant saves. And my 3rd star, I'll go Shane Pinto since you gave one to Norris. Nice. Shane Pinto just still coming in and playing fantastic hockey. He only played
just under 11 I got.
Yeah, just under 11 minutes. He 2 for 5 on the face-off tonight. Nobody was very good tonight except for Colin White, surprisingly. But yeah, so Shane Pinto, just especially on the penalty kill, he just blew my mind. He fantastic game, and I can't wait to watch more of this.
Yeah, I agree. Just I'm looking at faceoffs again, and like, look at the discrepancy. Norris took 19, and White is the next closest at 10.
Yeah.
Oh,
Talk about, and I tweeted this out. Points isn't the only thing that matters in a Calder vote.
no, yeah.
It is actually. It shouldn't be, but it is. So
I don't think there's enough left in the season for Norris to kind of take that next step. But if he's not top 3 in voting at the end of the season, I'll even go further. If Stutzel's ahead of him, then it's just a bunch of baloney. And I don't think awards matter, and they shouldn't matter anymore. Because we saw it firsthand with Carlson. He got robbed of at least 2 Norris trophies.
Yeah.
Because it was someone else's turn.
Yeah.
That was the big thing. But yeah, Norris should absolutely be in that top 3 conversation without a doubt.
Yeah. Josh is the final Norris that Erik Karlsson brought Ottawa.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's going to be the headlines for next 15 years.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope Norris breaks records just for the sake of it.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So who needs to be better for next game?
Boy. I'll go with Ryan Dzingel, actually. He's been pretty quiet. -2 tonight. He's in a 4th line role, so it's limited, I guess. But he's kind of fighting the puck. It looks like he had a couple times one time for sure, where it just got gifted to him, like right on his stick, and then he just kind of gave it up again. So little things like that, he just needs to be wary of. But other than that, everyone else looked pretty fantastic, I gotta say.
Yeah, I'll give mine to Evgeny Dadonov, and not because he didn't have a good game, but there were moments that I was like, Evgeny Dadonov looks fantastic this game, but then I thought, this is the second time I think I've noticed Dadonov this game, though. He was so invisible tonight, unless he was making a great play, which is a good thing, but he didn't make many great plays. He just made enough to get my attention. Only 15 shifts, less than 12 minutes.
Yeah, he didn't have a ton.
I don't know what you're supposed to do there.
45 seconds of power play time.
Yeah, so I don't know. But yeah, I think Dadonov, for that $5 million, it's not going to hurt us at all, but do a little bit more, please.
Yeah, I think, and this was kind of advertised, I think, you'll notice games where he's just completely invisible.
Yeah.
And then other times he looks great and he's very streaky. He's got 12 goals. So he's not slacking by any means. He just scores in bunches, which is frustrating, I think, to watch sometimes. But, he's played every game this season and he's brought it for the most part. So not much complaints over here, especially when other players are producing. It's not that big of a deal if he's not a liability defensively. Yeah,
absolutely. So that wraps it up for tonight, I think. It's way past my bedtime. It's 1:30. So
Christ.
I didn't miss these games. We did a lot of these at the beginning of the season.
Couple more coming up in Vancouver.
Yep. Oh. Not looking forward to them, but no. I am looking forward to the games against Vancouver. But
big points in the standings.
Yeah, it's a pretty relatively tight race for 4th. So appreciate everybody coming to watch and letting us know what you think. And make sure you come Wednesday, I think, is the next game. Thursday?
Yep, 10 p.m. start, and then Saturday at 10 p.m. start.
Oh, yay. So make sure you come check those out, and we'll